I really got into a game called Deadlock recently, and if you don't know what that is, it is a 6v6 MOBA that's being developed by Valve. It's third person, it's got some movement tech. It's like all these different kind of games that I've played over the years kind of meshed together into one just really fun package. Like, I grew up playing League of Legends back in middle school, and, you know, Overwatch, because I was a big Blizzard fan back in the day, I know. And then like Apex Legends, these different games, Rainbow Six, all these different like shooter games, these competitive games all meshed together in just this beautiful amalgamation of all these kind of mechanics that just like clicked when I played it for the first time. I really don't think I could gush about it enough. I have been really loving the game. I only recently started playing. I played after this big update where they updated the art style, the lighting, and everything is just so cool about the game. Like, I like a lot about it. The artwork, the characters themselves have great lines of dialogue, despite it being kind of like, you know, it's a MOBA, so they only ever speak to each other in very limited amounts. But the amount that they do speak to each other says so much about the characters. I think all their characters are so cool. I could just listen to the voice lines of those characters over and over again, just because, I don't know, they're just written so well. Like, one of my favorite characters, I don't even play him, but just like voice lines in general, is Seven. Like, you get such a good sense of his character just by listening to his voice lines, how much he respects different people who are achieving their potential, and how much, you know, he's kind of willing to do anything to meet his own.
Fan of your work, Professor.
I am flattered and horrified in equal measure.
Your research into the astral gates paved the way for my own. In my rare moments of doubt, sometimes I even wonder if I would have become the man I am were it not for you.
And now I'm just horrified.
Or like Apollo, who's one of the newer characters. He is this kind of pompous rich kid, but the thing is that he's a little bit more than that. It shows that he cares about people, and also that he's pretty competent. It's not just like a pompous rich kid who has to live up to his father. He is living up to his father, and something about that, there's just so much depth to these characters. The only characters I think that maybe need a little bit more tuning in terms of their character, at least my personal thing, is just like the revenge-based characters, especially Holiday. I feel like her voice lines don't really let on anything else other than the fact that she's on a quest for revenge, and there's not much to her. But overall, all the characters have a lot of depth, and the gameplay has a lot of depth because it has this kind of amalgamation again of like MOBA mechanics, you know, Dota, League of Legends. So there is this kind of like macro game that you tie in with this really intense micro game with all this like high movement. It is just so fun. I might not look like it when I'm playing it, but I actually am very relaxed and I'm having a lot of fun when I play this game because it gives me something that I can kind of work towards getting better at. I like competitive games where I can like slowly tweak and get better at over time. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I grew up playing a lot of competitive video games where you're going to be put into a team of a bunch of random people against another team of random people, and it all culminates into this beautiful like teamwork, but also this weird toxic concoction that's just strangely addicting and I can't really ever get over. Like, I started competitive games, like team-based games, with League of Legends back in middle school, back when Season 1 had just come out. And that game was like crack to middle school me. I enjoyed getting better, learning this large cast of characters. As they updated the map, they started kind of finding themselves and trying to get better at this game. In high school, I played a lot of CSGO. It probably has the most hours I have of any game on Steam still to this day, just from my high school years. And you know, you would play this game, learn smokes, slowly get better at your aim, all while some, you know, dude, you know, yells at you in a language you don't understand. It was fun to me. Around the end of high school, we started getting things like the first battle royales, like PUBG started popping off, and then you get to, you know, worm your way through a bunch of fields, crawling prone, with a few of your buddies, getting better at, you know, slowly shooting with a Kar 98, things like that. And just enjoying getting those, you know, winner chicken dinners. In college, I played a lot of Rainbow Six Siege and Heroes of the Storm, and you know, I hit pretty decent ranks on both of those. Heroes of the Storm, I think I hit some of the top ranks with a character that's not very popular. I love Abathur. He was very fun. But just this game of like, you know, getting better, learning angles, trying to do your best to win any game, and give your team the advantage was very satisfying to me. There were a few years in between that where I quit playing competitive video games, or just video games in general, for quite a while. But there's a part of me that kind of always itched to play a competitive game, and so Deadlock kind of met that for me. So when I started playing this game, it all kind of clicked and it was really, really fun, and I wanted to get better at it. I saw some people doing crazy things in this game, and I want to start trying to do that. I've only been playing like 2 months, and I think that I'm somewhere on the right side of the bell curve, although it's a game in, alpha, so the data that we have isn't necessarily accurate, but I'm somewhere on the right side of that, if there is an actual normal distribution, I'm somewhere on the right. And as I was climbing this game, there was just this thought in the back of my head about improving these games, because I've played a lot of competitive games over the years. And this kind of advice is something that you would hear in basically every single competitive team-based game. It's an advice I've pretty much heard anytime I've watched a video on how to get better at, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Rainbow Six Siege, whatever, CSGO, right? It's that you have to carry yourself. You have to be the playmaker, you have to be the one who is winning the game. You have to be the deciding factor, in a sense. You can't really rely on your teammates for this. Yes, this is a competitive, team-based video game, right? There's an element of teamwork, there is a, the team that you're working with. However, if you've ever played any of these kinds of video games, you'll know that expecting your team to do well for you and expecting your team to act a certain way is kind of like, rolling a dice that's loaded against you. You're most likely gonna get people who are uncooperative, or they might not do well. Sure, you might get the occasional teammate who carries the game for you, right? They do really well, and you ride out that game without really needing to do anything on your own. But did you really earn that win? Because what happens if you get what's more like the average teammate, where, people are feeding, they're not doing well, they're saying terrible things in the group chat, they are just slinging out words that, I can't repeat. Are you just gonna lose? Because most likely, if you're the player who, your performance is dependent on everyone around you, yeah, you're going to be losing that game, and you're going to be losing most of your games. How you actually consistently get better at these games and get better ranks is to be the person who is carrying the games, to be the deciding factor. Essentially, if you want to do a lot with these games, it's to make sure that you're having the most impact across your team. You could be a tank that's really doing a good job, absorbing a bunch of damage for your team, kind of controlling the battlefield. You can be a support who is actually making sure that your carries aren't getting out positioned. You could be the carry themselves, doing a lot of damage. Things of that sort. You could be a shot caller, telling your team what to do, where to go, and kind of making sure that everyone has the adequate amount of information. The only controllable factor, even in a team-based game, that you truly have is your own performance and how you affect your team. So where exactly am I going with this video? Because this isn't exactly a video about video games, as much as it is about what I've learned from, my years of playing video games. Because as much as it's weird to say, I think playing through these games, I've developed as a person around kind of playing these different games, and how I process information is kind of dependent on, what I've experienced. Like, I used to be a very angry teenager back when I was in middle school, high school, when I was playing CSGO. I did not control it very well. I went through stages of learning how to, deal with team conflict, deal with other people, all through these video games. So please take this with the understanding that I understand there's a lot of nuance to this, and everyone is different, and there are a bunch of different stages people take to grow and develop into better and better people and working with other people. Take the understanding that I understand that. I'm just more talking of a general frustration. What actually spurred this whole video on was, originally it was a D&D video, but I kind of took it and moved it away, was that I really kind of dislike when people kind of dwell on the negative, and I understand that that's a very easy thing to do, but the thing that really kind of ticked it off was seeing D&D horror stories in my recommended. I hate D&D horror stories. I really, really dislike them. I dislike whenever I see them pop up on my YouTube feed. But the thing is, when I see these stories about people complaining about their DM, about their players, about their group, about them doing something that kind of annoyed them or pissed them off, or set them off, or they can't find a good group to play with, they are unable to find people to do these things. And for me, coming from this experience of always playing these team-based video games and learning to do all these things and get good at these games, is that it's kind of all in your hands. If you want a good group of D&D to play with, it is your responsibility. Yes, you might be able to roll up and find a good group and someone who might DM for you or be a good player. Maybe you're kind of rolling the dice on that, right? You're always gonna kind of be in and out of finding people who aren't working for you and find yourself frustrated. If you want a group of people to hang around you, why don't you start forming it? Ask some people. Ask people who might be interested. Ask some people who you don't think might be interested, but you like to hang out with, and maybe it could work out. You can be the person that everyone forms around and forms a D&D group around. I wanted to play D&D because I had a little bit of an experience with it, and I was curious if I could DM and if I could get a good group and have people over, daily or like weekly, and just see if I could get people to be more involved with each other and in their lives. And I did. I managed to find some people, and yes, we did have to cut, a few people out. Some people ended up not liking the game, but ultimately I found a good group of people that I actually like hanging out with. And, they're not perfect players, but they are players that are getting better at this, and we are learning to work with each other, and it is a fun time. It's something that you can do, and it takes effort, though. The thing is that you need to put effort in to make a good group. And if you want a good game, you also have to put in the effort. I make a bunch of artwork I will display right behind me. One of these things was like a big campaign promotion art that I made just for my players. If you don't know how to make art, you can make other things. You can make music, you can make just rules and different storylines, things that will get your players like hyped up. Maybe you could commission people. Just putting in that effort to make things good, that's how you get good things. In the same way, it does with skills too, right? I don't know, to me, I've heard a lot of people complaining about certain situations in their lives, and I understand other factors. There are big picture things that make things unpleasant and make it difficult to learn certain things, or like make you feel stuck in certain parts of your life. But there's also the element that you can kind of always just put in the effort and make the sacrifice to do certain things that you enjoy. If you want to learn any skill, like you want to start working out more, you want to do some art. Whenever I hear people say they don't have time to draw, but then I know what they're doing in half the day, right? It's like, you have time to draw. You're just not willing to make the sacrifice in your day for like your Instagram Reels or something. Again, super general, this might not apply to everyone, right? But can put in that effort. You can carry yourself out of this. The same thing that I am with this video, I have been procrastinating with these videos recently just because I haven't felt super happy with it. And I kind of found myself complaining about things that didn't really even necessarily apply to the video making process. I was just blaming things so that I can have like an excuse for why I'm not doing it. It would be insane though if I'm like, oh, I'm not getting any videos out, or I'm not happy with the quality of the videos that I've been making, and for me to blame the mailman, It's not anyone else's fault other than me because I'm not putting in the effort. I don't know, whenever people start blaming other people regardless of anything, I'm always like, oh, there's always things that you could do yourself to solve it, and that's coming from my experience of playing games. But this, again, just me frustrated with myself, and I want to start making videos again, and I have been just struggling and working at it. I have like 10 scripts in the thing, and I just like have been scrapping and rewriting them and scrapping them, and I'm just not happy with them. But I will be making videos, and I don't know who really cares, but I don't know. Yeah, bye.